We are back with our midweek update, and we are building directly off yesterday's video by keeping our Seattle core intact while making a couple of targeted pivots for salary and leverage in a slate where both teams have a tough defense overall. Quarterback first, no change at the top. We are still on Sam Darnold at 16,200 with a dash rank of 118 projected points against New England, who have a tough defense overall. He is about 0% owned with 15 fantasy points per game and recent scores of 30, 9, and 9. The Y is unchanged from yesterday and remains news-driven and correlation-driven. Reporting confirmed he just won his first Super Bowl with Seattle in a 29-13 win over the Patriots. And Warren Moon credited a past coach for restoring Darnold's confidence, which supports our trust in red zone decision-making and the stack with Jackson Smith-Njigba and Jason Myers. We are also holding Drake May at 16,500 with a dash rank of 99 and 21 projected points against Seattle, who have a tough defense overall. He is about 0% owned with 22 fantasy points per game and recent scores of 16, 17, and 19. The reason we are sticking is ceiling via volume in a likely competitive game and clean bring-back logic to our Seattle stacks. The news backs it up. He barely lost the 2025 MVP to Matthew Stafford by one first-place vote, and way too early 2026 MVP chatter has him right near the top, which signals league confidence in his production profile, even in difficult spots. Running back, we are staying with yesterday's pivot. We remain on Trevayon Henderson at 5,700 with a dash rank of 79 and 12 projected points against Seattle, who have a tough defense overall. He's about 0% owned with 13 fantasy points per game and recent scores of 1, 3, and 5. The Y is price-adjusted leverage with explosive traits. Recent coverage highlighted his rookie-year pop with 968 rushing yards and 9 touchdowns, and emphasized his pass game ability, which fits a quick game plan if Seattle's rush squeezes May. That keeps our salary flexible while maintaining New England exposure in May stacks. On Ramondre Stevenson at 13,200 with a dash rank of 82 and 16 projected points against Seattle, who have a tough defense overall, we are keeping him behind Henderson in our builds. He is about 0% owned with 13 fantasy points per game and recent scores of 7, 12, and 16. The reason for the stats is role volatility and price. There was a midweek report noting a concerning update after Mike Vrabel announced injuries to 3 key players, and New England's investment in Trevayon Henderson only tightens competition for touches. We will sprinkle Stevenson as a contrarian tournament play because the projection is solid, but Henderson remains our preferred RB exposure for salary efficiency and game script fit. Wide receiver, the core stays locked. Jackson Smith-Njigba is still our centerpiece at 11,100 with a dash rank of 127 projected points versus New England, who have a tough defense overall. He is about 0% owned with 23 fantasy points per game and recent scores of 34, 11, and 14. The news flow is overwhelming, and it explains our conviction. Reports stated he just played the biggest role of any receiver for a Super Bowl winning team ever. He has taken over as Seattle's primary receiving threat in year 3, and his Super Bowl heroics set the tone for 2026. That is target dominance. We are not fading into a tough matchup. We are making a WR change from yesterday. We are moving off the veteran secondary piece we used for salary balance and bringing Rashid Shaheed back in as our Seattle value receiver at 6,300 with a dash rank of 92 and 10 projected points versus New England, who have a tough defense overall. He is about 0% owned with 9 fantasy points per game and recent scores of 6, 9, and 1. The Y is leverage and role versatility. News called him one of the most dynamic special teams playmakers in the league and highlighted his big play profile, including a season-setting splash against Atlanta and recognition as an unsung hero during Seattle's deep run. If New England diverts extra coverage to JSN, Shaheed's speed gives us cheap exposure to chunk plays and correlated scoring without overpaying. Tight end, we are holding our upgrade from yesterday. Hunter Henry remains in at 10-500 with a dash rank of 93 and 10 projected points against Seattle, who have a tough defense overall. He is about 0% owned with 11 fantasy points per game and recent scores of 3, 2, and 15. The Y is compressed red zone usage for a young quarterback and prop support. Sportsline specifically called out Henry among its top tight end targets, and in a condensed Patriots scoring tree, he remains a primary end zone read for May. For large field savings, Austin Hooper is our punt alternative at 3,000, with a dash rank of 71 and 3 projected points against Seattle, who have a tough defense overall. He's about 0% owned with 4 fantasy points per game and recent scores of 0, 2, and 0. The only reason to click Hooper is salary relief in lineups that jam multiple high-ceiling pieces. It is a thin roll, so we prefer Henry, but Hooper is viable in stars and scrubs builds. Kicker remains unchanged. Jason Myers is still core at 8,100 with a dash rank of 60 and 11 projected points versus New England, who have a tough defense overall. He is about 0% owned with recent scores of 7, 11, and 8. The news reinforces both floor and ceiling. He drilled 5 field goals in the Super Bowl, the most ever, and there was real public debate about him for MVP. Against a tough defense, field goals are a very live path, and he correlates cleanly with Darnold and JSN. Andy Borregales stays our secondary kicker at 7,500 with a dash rank of 57 and 9 projected points against Seattle, who have a tough defense overall. He is about 0% owned with recent scores of 4, 4, and 10. Reporting praised his immediate impact as New England's primary place kicker with 126 points at an 86.7% success rate, which fits May stacks when drives stall. Defense is unchanged. Patriots DST remains a value at $6,000 with a dash rank of 58 and 6 projected points and recent scores of 12, 7, and 5. Their opponent rank is 14, so they face a team who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall on the other side, and the leverage still makes sense against what will be a popular Seattle core. If pressure forces one short field or a turnover, this is the contrarian separation we want. For flex and value construction, no change at the top. We continue to center builds around JSN at 11,100 with a dash rank of 100 and a 27-point projection in a tough matchup because the role and news-backed ceiling are unmatched. For deep salary relief in Seattle-heavy stacks, the Seahawks team value at 4,400 with a dash rank of 53 and 5 projected points faces an opponent who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall and provides cheap correlation at about 0% ownership. To recap changes from yesterday, we kept Darnold with JSN and Myers as our primary Seattle stack because post-Super Bowl reporting affirmed Darnold's command and JSN's historic impact. We kept May as the sharp bringback with Borregales and Patriots DST as leverage. We maintained our RB pivot to Treveyon Henderson for price-adjusted upside and pushed Ramondre Stevenson behind him due to the midweek injury concern report and touch competition. We moved off yesterday's veteran WR complement and brought Rashid Shaheed back as a salary-friendly big-play leverage piece in Seattle stacks. We held our upgrade to Hunter Henry at tight end with prop support and kept Hooper as a pure punt. This keeps us correlated, cost-efficient, and positioned for upside at near-zero ownership in a game where both teams have a tough defense overall.